So, our first Story Slam was like 14 months ago. It was October of 2013, and we didn't do video on that one because I think it's like, well, who knows if anybody's going to show up? Who cares? But then it was like a giant success. We had it in the room next door, which is smaller, and then they moved it in here the next month because it was like packed out and crazy. So, how many people were here from the first show? Just a couple, right? Okay, great. So, great. You realize that Rochester is now like the talent pool for the world, and everybody starts here and then they go off to amazing things in other places. So this is like, it's like the weird, this is like the, whatever they call it, the tide pool where the stuff starts mixing up in the genetic soup, and then, now they're like bacteria made in New York City. So, I'm going to tell the story that I told the first time, since there's no video for it, and most of you haven't heard it, and I'm going to see, and it's going to be the basics. I haven't done notes or anything, and I don't have a recording of it anymore, so I'm just going to tell you the facts of the case. And it has to do with how I ended up doing. So, she remembers. Okay, so, one time I was engaged to be married. I was secret engaged to be married. I know. The reason that you get secret engaged to be married is that you know that the moment that you tell anyone, especially your closest friends and family, they will tell you you should not be engaged to this particular person. And you know this in your heart of hearts. But what you do is you just push all that down, right? And you cover it up with like frozen pizza and cheese whiz. 3 years ago, I ran 3 miles 3 times a week. Can you believe that? I got engaged to this woman. We hadn't known each other very long. We knew each other from going to MCC at approximately the same time, being involved in a literary magazine there. And I got together with her because I was really in probably one of my deepest depressions. And when you are feeling bummed out, sometimes you're just looking for like somebody to throw you a rope and say, here, climb out. And she was there for me in a weird way. She was there and she was like, let's just get together right now and let's get married. And I was like, sure, let's do that. Like a couple of days in. And that's not what you should be doing. And yeah, she had some problems. And I had some problems, and she had a small child who was almost 3 years old at the time, and he was wonderful. He's the best part about this story. He was an amazing little kid named Aiden, and I loved him like he was my own son, and I took care of him for over 2 years. And the problem is that she was paranoid and like weirdly, insanely jealous, like to the point where I would go to work at night and she would insist on dropping me off and picking me up, so that there was no way that I could go anywhere or do anything with any other person, regardless of who they were. It got to the point later on in the relationship where I was not able to be in a different room from her in the house. And sometimes my bathroom trips were suspect to her. And I was living like that for a long time because I felt like you agree to something and you stick to it and you just fucking do it. You're not messing around. I showed her I was serious. I'm like, we're getting married. She has a kid. It's like, this is serious time. Let's all grow up and be adults. And then, but I was miserable. I was miserable for a good year and a half out of like 2.5 years. And it turns out, after a while, you just, yeah, I know, Kyle.
Hey, I'm helping.
I'm almost done. It turns out that sometimes you need somebody to give you permission to give a shit about yourself. And what happened was my little sister was going to college and she asked me to go out for coffee. Going out for coffee with my little sister was a feat, just to get out of the house on my day off without taking my girlfriend / fiance with me. And this is immediately after we had announced to my family that we were going to get married. Their reaction was, "What?" And so she just said to me, "I don't think you're happy. Are you happy?" And I made a lot of excuses, and I said, "Yeah, sure. I mean, we're going through a tough time, and she needs to get her medication figured out, and and once she's stable, it's gonna be great." And so I just tried to assure her that everything was cool, but as soon as I got back home that day, everything just collapsed in my mind. It was like suddenly I had permission to have some sort of agency, like decide that maybe it's not good for anybody if I grind myself up into a pulp for a person's crazy demands. Maybe that's not good for me or the kid or anybody. And the thing that sucks about this is that I did break up with her, but when you break up with your fiance, there's no custody or rights or anything. There's nothing. And she didn't want me to see the kid, and now I haven't seen this kid for 3.5 years now. And he's probably 6 or he's probably about 6 or 7 now. And that's super sad. And I'm sure he's he's a kid. He's Brazilian. He was a smart kid. He'll be okay. But it's a bummer for me. And subsequently, a postscript, Dewey knew my ex-fiance through working at the literary magazine at MCC. And Dewey sold my ex-fiance a car, and my ex-fiance ripped her off out of $300. And I didn't know. I didn't know at the time. And I only found out when I started doing stand-up comedy. I met Dewey, and Dewey comes up to me after an open mic after seeing me. She's like, "She's not here, is she?" And I said, "No, we broke up a year ago." And she was like, which is basically everybody's response with this person. So, hey, I care about myself a little bit more, and thank you very much for listening.